All right, Rob, we are 8 days out from this election. And
It's exciting.
yeah, it is exciting. It's just
Yeah.
one of these things where, my gosh, everybody thought there was massive momentum last time around. I mean, we had all those boat parades going on down in Florida. We had truck rallies going across interstates that were stretching out for miles and miles and miles, and it looked like everything was going our way. And all of a sudden, and we all went to bed on that Tuesday night, right? All went to bed, and all of a sudden the next day, everything just starts to like unwind. So,
Yeah.
folks, welcome in here. We're going to be talking about Ohio elections tonight. We're gonna start off with issue 1. We're going to unpack that for you guys because, I mean, you guys got to vote against that. You don't have to. We're urging people to vote against it.
Right.
We're going to unpack why it's a very nasty and bad thing. And then we're going to talk about Ohio's U.S. Senate race. We'll talk about the presidential race here in Ohio, and then we will wrap up with Ohio's legislative races. If you guys have questions in the meantime, if you're watching it live, you guys are welcome to jump into the comment section, drop some questions in there as well. So, okay, we're just going to jump into it right away. Let's get into issue 1 and explain to these people, Rob, why it's such a nasty thing and why they need to vote against it. And because, folks, Rob here, he's the expert on this issue. Take it away, Rob. Do you give him a basic, like 30,000 foot view? Then I'll start asking some questions.
Yeah. I mean, so basically, issue 1, it totally destroys the current system we have in place for basically for drawing legislative boundaries. So we're talking about all the state rep and the state Senate districts in Ohio at the state house. We're also talking about our Ohio congressional districts as well. Currently, we have a 7-member panel that is comprised of all the statewide elected office holders plus two members of each house in the General Assembly. So 2 from the House, 2 from the Senate. And each of those 2, there has to be 1 Republican, 1 Democrat. So there always has to be at least 2 members of that commission from the minority party. They're in charge of drawing the maps. They have to have a unanimous vote to pass a map that's good for 10 years, which they just finally did last year. So we have 10-year maps, or they can decide by a simple majority to pass a map that's good for 4 years. The voters back in Ohio voters back in 2018, I believe it was, passed a constitutional amendment or an amendment that put in place certain guardrails around redistricting to try to eliminate, but scale back the amount of gerrymandering that was taking place. So there were restrictions on, you can only split cities certain ways. You can't split counties so many ways or townships, to try to keep all those little snake liney districts that we used to have from happening again.
I've seen districts that literally like go down one half of a highway and connect down to a different thing. So they were trying to prevent that. Okay, and this is 2018 or 2015.
This was I think this was 2018. In 2015, there was another amendment that expanded the panel of on this commission that drew the maps from 5 to 7.
Got it.
That's when they changed the voting procedure and the 4 map plan versus the 10 map plan, that the 10-year map plan. I mean, the 4-year map.
Okay. So currently the current system that we've got, it's based on census data. Am I correct?
That's correct. Yep. What they do is they take this commission is supposed to meet every 10 years because the goal is to get maps that last 10 years because that's when the census is. Every 10 years, the data is the most fresh at the end of the census.
Sure.
So we're trying to get districts that are most accurate to the population, to the voters in that district and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And that's the current. Yes, and all the people that are on this redistricting commission are all elected officials. They're either, the governor, the auditor, the Secretary of State, or they're members of the General Assembly.
so and this is for the audience too. So as elected officials, each one of these people is they are not vulnerable, but they are receptive to the people that put them into office in the first place.
Yes.
You can certainly contact them as elected members of government. We live in a republic, not a democracy.
Right. Right.
We live in a republic. The power rests with the people. We confer our power to these people. So the current system of 7 members of this commission all being elected is exactly what you would expect in a republic form of government. And so,
yes.
So I think this is the crux of it, and this is why it is so bad and so nasty. So Rob, explain to everybody what it goes from. If this is what it currently is of 7 elected members, what is it going to transition to? And while you start to explain that, I'm going to go grab my cup of coffee from the other room.
Right. Yeah. So folks, when if issue 1 were to pass, what they want to do is they want to create a panel of 15 basically unelected bureaucrats. And these people that will be selected are selected by. It actually says this in the issue that they are picked by a panel of, quote, retired judges. So these people are not elected. There's supposed to be 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, and 5 registered independents. And it's these retired judges that are picking them. So this whole process is unaccountable.
Retired judges, even themselves, are not vulnerable to the members of the public anymore. They are retired. So don't get so folks, the people who are preaching that this is the system that we need to transition to, they're deliberately counting on people to react to this in some kind of an emotional capacity and think that retired judges don't have proclivities or don't have biases.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely preposterous. They absolutely do have biases, and that's why this is so nasty.
Exactly. So, well, and especially because one of the retired, quote unquote, retired judges that is spearheading this effort is retired Supreme Court Chief Justice Maureen O'Connor, who was the chief architect behind striking down all the previous maps that were passed by the General Assembly and this bipartisan commission.
You hear that, folks? This judge struck down the maps that were written and designed by we the people.
Right, through our elected representatives.
Yeah, that's what the Ohio General Assembly is. It's a representation of us. We transfer that power to them by electing them. And so she came out with a ruling in that court opinion. And when was this again, Rob?
This was, I think that, well, there were multiple rounds of these maps that were struck down in the Supreme Court, but I think that it was early 2023 or late 2022 when this happened, I believe.
Yeah. So these people have total agendas. You cannot be involved in the Ohio political system, and make no mistake about it, the judiciary is absolutely political. It's been weaponized against people like you and me, quite frankly, both at the state and federal levels for years. And the idea that these people are somehow above the impulses of human behavior is absolutely ridiculous. These people, power is like an aphrodisiac to these people. Maureen O'Connor is absolutely one of them. She she wields that power in a way to try to crush people and to try to destroy, not build up and protect. So that's Maureen O'Connor, and she'd be like candidate number 1 for being on this judicial nomination commission to this to the Ohio Redistricting Commission. Am I correct?
100%. She would be on that panel of retired judges. I think that's why they worded it that way, so that way she could serve on this commission or this panel that's in charge of selecting these 15 people to draw these maps. The whole thing is corrupt from top to bottom. Yeah, the retired judges are not accountable to we the people, to the voters. The panel of 15 are not accountable. We have no say in who's selected on the panel. I think that you can apply to be one of the 15, but obviously it's up to this panel to pick. And
how is the original panel seated, by the way?
The original? You mean our current? No,
commission? I mean this panel of retired judges. Who picks those people? Like, how do they?
I don't recall the process for their picking of the retired judges.
Okay. All right. We'll dig into that.
Yeah.
So I hope you see what we're talking about here, folks. Any entity or any ads that you're seeing right now from on your television or on the radio or on your
They're
pre-roll on
everywhere.
YouTube, they're everywhere. All this stuff is being funded by basically sharks that are coming in from out of state. They smell blood in the water.
Yep.
This is a way to totally destroy the cultural composition of Ohio and all of what we have worked for years and years and years here at Ohio Gun Owners. These people, if this judicial panel gets seated and this passes, and they start putting these unelected bureaucrats on this board, as soon as this current 10-year map runs out, which they wouldn't be able to touch that. Is that correct?
No, that's actually incorrect. It actually says
Whoa.
in the 26-page amendment that
Whoa.
they must start drawing new maps, I think, early next year. They
Oh my
will
gosh.
obliterate the current maps and have to start from square one.
Folks,
And even worse,
go ahead.
Even worse, in the amendment, like we were talking about, the current system, it aligns with the census. They use all the up-to-date data to draw the maps. Well, in issue 1, they're instead of starting from the data to make the maps to try to make the districts equal in proportion and have with the guardrails in place against gerrymandering, what they say actually in the amendment, it will be put into the Constitution, is that our legislative and congressional districts have to match with the statewide election results. So let's say that 56% of Ohioans end up voting for Donald Trump in this election. Well, that means the next district maps have to reflect that in the general, as in proportionality of seats in the General Assembly. So instead of starting with the data, they're starting with a political outcome, which is
that is insane.
Yeah. Yep, and they will specifically be gerrymandering districts to accomplish a certain political outcome. And that's why this is so dangerous.
Absolutely insane, because the big statewide, the presidential, the congressional stuff, those are the elections that are absolutely most affected by outside money. Okay, these massive super PACs come in that are funded by the radical left billionaires. They come in and spend tens of millions of dollars in Ohio's elections, in these congressional and presidential elections. So it's when outside influences have maximum control, and then they want to take that and reverse engineer the Ohio legislative districts to match that outside influence rather than the statistical composition of the state of Ohio. Is that a fair and accurate?
That is fair and
assessment?
accurate. And listen, if you're right now, I think the Republicans in the House of Representatives, the Ohio House, have a 66 or 67 seat majority. Yeah. So if you scale that down to 56, if you eliminate 10 Republican districts, how are they going to accomplish that? What they're going to do if this passes is they're going to have to draw, wheel spokes, coming from the cities, coming from Cleveland, coming from Cincinnati, coming from Columbus into the rural areas. Yeah. So that's the only way to make more Democrat districts.
Yeah.
And they'll have no regard for the ethnicity of the people involved, or township lines or county
cultural
lines,
traditions, heritage.
If they draw a district from downtown Columbus and draw a spoke wheel all the way out to Madison County or Union County, I mean, some of these people have hardly anything in common with one another.
Like nothing.
Yeah, almost nothing. So it makes no sense whatsoever. It's all for basically the people who are voting yes on this are voting to put gerrymandering into the Constitution, because you by definition must gerrymander in order to accomplish these political outcomes.
Yeah, I'm just going to not mince words here. If issue 1 passes, 10 years from now, it will guarantee the cultural and family and social destruction of what people consider Ohio to be.
Yep.
Okay. And then once they get the redistricting done like this, they can dump in money and into the competitive races in a concentrated fashion. And it will be a matter of 15 years before Ohio is passing laws that look identical to freaking California.
Right.
That's what's going to happen here. That is the purpose behind issue 1. That is what the funders of issue 1 from all out of state are doing. That's why they're coming in on this. They've seen Ohio veering hard to the right, in the last 16 years, I don't know, 10, 15 years. And they want, and Ohio's a major state. It's a major state
Yep.
on the federal side. It's a major state on the presidential side. And if they can totally redo this, they can destroy Ohio.
Right, right. And to tie it on to gun rights, I mean, you're going to get more gun grabbers elected to Columbus if this passes. That's just a fact.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And with that, you have the risk of, the Republicans that you do have, maybe some of them support some of the gun control and
becoming total trash balls. I mean, it would be bad.
So the threat of gun control here in Ohio would increase dramatically if this passes.
Incidentally, this is why we were trying to get the threshold for changing the Ohio Constitution from 50 up to 60. But so many stupid people out there, even people in the gun world, were so stupid as to not see the obvious truth in front of your faces. And obviously, right now, if you're sitting here, one of those people, and you got suckered by all that bull crap last time around, please don't voice your opinions on this stuff. You've lost your credibility. Go and be quiet on this kind of stuff from now on, because the radical left is trying to destroy this freaking country. And if you're so dumb as to not see what's going on here, just be quiet.
Yep.
Just be quiet.
We gave them an inch and they're taking a mile as we speak. They are taking mile after mile.
Absolutely. And if we don't start drawing the line in the sand here, these outside special interest groups are going to start using, they already are, but they're going to use the Ohio constitutional amendment process as a legislative forum to get whatever the crap they want from here on out. It's time that people stand up and start being real about these things and stop living in the past and stop thinking that the radical left has anything other than the total destruction of this country in mind for you and me. This is not a war of worldviews anymore, where each side, they got some good ideas and we each just want the best for each other. That's absolutely not true. We are well past that. Everything they're doing now has been done before in the last 150 years in various countries all across the world, and it's called communism. Yep. It's communism, and they want to simply destroy. They want to destroy. They want total power, and if you object and resist, they want to destroy you, your family, and everything about you. They want to destroy our culture, your heritage. They want there to be nothing left of pride from the past. And this is how they're doing it. Right. This is how they're doing it. They're controlling the constitutional amendment process. They want to redistrict everything. Meanwhile, we still have Republicans that are throwing historic amounts of money at government, at the government indoctrination programs that are creating the voters, these low information, low propensity, idiots, total idiots that are graduating from our schools that are driven by pure soundbite emotion from the radical left. And they're getting suckered by the hundreds of thousands with every graduating class here in Ohio. And it's not just an Ohio problem. That's an America problem. Our side is continually funding our own destruction by just throwing massive amounts of money at these machines that are manufacturing absolute garbage. They teach kids that from the very youngest ages now to hate their parents, hate the founding fathers, hate this country as a bunch of racist, slave-owning bigots. and then if they can convince them to go off to university or college, they just absolutely put a blender in their brains and graduate mush. So I know Rob is probably like, oh my gosh, Chris, you're going off the rails.
No. I'm like, man, preach.
Going off the rails. But this is what's going on. These are the stakes. And I'll just say this too. This youngest generation, I mean, these new kids, 18-year-olds, 19, 20, up to 35 years old, they're getting this stuff. They're understanding it very quickly. They don't have the ability to go out and buy a house anymore for $150,000. They're just getting savaged by our economy that previous people have let get in place, and so they're going hard to the right on these issues. They understand this stuff without hardly any explanation. But we've got to stand up and be strong right now.
Yeah, this
for
is
the
the
people
time
that are coming after us.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Rob.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, ditto. I mean, we have to recognize the enemy that we're dealing with here. We have to recognize the threat that's in front of us, and we have to have the common sense to be able to see forward. What they have in place is going to affect for years to come.
Yeah.
They're laying the foundations of of their agenda right now as we speak.
Yeah. And stop looking for the best.
Yeah.
In what you're hearing from the enemy, because everything that comes out of their mouth is designed to appeal and appease resistance. They want to tighten that choke collar as comfortably as possible. They want to put pads in between the rope and your neck and say, there, does that feel good? Do you feel okay? Because that's the way this goes. If you study the history of communism in Russia or in China or in Italy's communist revolution or in France's communist revolution, if you study these things, it goes like this. It goes slow, 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 warp speed. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's cooking the frog from like cold water where they can hardly move all the way up to where it's warm and you feel really good. And then all of a sudden they boil you to death. That's how communism works. That's how collectivism works. That's how tyranny works. It's slow until it's warp speed.
Right. And they use democracy to do it.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
Mob rule.
Every single time they say they claim democracy, but then once they have complete control, they totally go mob rule. They totally destroy everything you love and care about. Your country, your freedom, your religion, everything. Totally destroy everything.
Yeah. And because they're not overly smart in the process, sometimes they end up destroying each other or some portion of each other. But it's only when the strong and righteous stand up and fight back against this stuff that this evil gets vanquished. And a lot of people lived through the Cold War. I was a kid. I was a little kid. I was a baby when it wasn't even alive when it first started. But when it got over, I was just a little kid, and a lot of people are not remembering some of these things. And a lot of people, they don't teach history, of course, in schools anymore. So very few people know that in the 20th century, a very bare minimum of 100 million innocent people. Some people say it's up in the 250 million range, but a very bare minimum of 100 million innocent people were murdered by their governments that had gone full-blown communism, full-blown Chairman Mao, full-blown Stalin, and started murdering their citizens either through outright political executions in many cases. Every single one of those countries I just mentioned had absolute political executions by the thousands and thousands. And in some cases, it was simply class genocide. They starved you to death, and they starved millions of people to death by nationalizing the food production and coming in, confiscating people's farmland, and saying that this is now the public domain. I mean, this is what these tyrants do. This is what communism does. It gets very violent very quickly the moment it hits that warp speed phase. And I'm afraid that we keep letting these elections go by, we keep letting these issues go by, and we don't take these things seriously. So many people stay home on election day because of X, Y, and Z reasons, and our kids will curse us. Our kids will curse us.
And listen, if issue 1 passes, your vote will mean even less.
Yeah,
because then your politicians are not even your elected representatives will not be able to you will not be able to use them to draw maps, and so much power will be taken away from them. And when they take power away from your representatives, they're taking power away from you.
Yes. Issue 1, if it passes, is the ultimate gerrymandering tool.
It is.
It is the ultimate gerrymandering tool for the radical left. It will not be used to gerrymander for our side at all whatsoever.
They will, and just keep this in mind. This panel of 15 unelected bureaucrats will be in charge of determining who represents rural Ohio. And in most cases, that will end up being somebody from the big cities, because they will draw a district with no regard for who lives there, or township boundaries, city boundaries, county lines. And they will draw it from the inner cities all the way out into the rural areas. And because they have to, by the Constitution, if this passes, to draw maps that accomplish a political outcome. Keep that in mind. They will accomplish they need to accomplish a political outcome. It's not based on making sure the districts are uniform, or making sure that certain areas aren't being split unnecessarily to divide communities and such like that. No, it's all about how many Republicans live there, how many Democrats live there, and we need this district to be a seat that Republicans can win. We need this to be a seat that Democrats can win. And it's absolutely horrible. More gun grabbers will be elected to the state house. All these people are unelected, unaccountable. You can't even contact them, for goodness sake. You can't contact them. You can't have any.
That a minute. What does that mean?
I
mean, can't contact them.
There's literally no there's no way in the amendment for there to be citizen input on the maps. This is all done in-house by this panel, by their experts they bring in. And by the way, we're on the hook. The people of Ohio, the taxpayers, are on the hook for everything. All these 15 people, all their map drawers, all their experts, all their attorneys, everything. And you can't even sue them. And as a matter of fact, even if it actually says in the amendment that if one of these 15 members does something illegal, they're involved in some kind of misconduct, they can't even be removed by the people. Their only way they can be removed is by a majority vote of the panel, which you can't even contact. You can't take into court. You can't do anything. But you have to pay for it.
It is just total tyranny. It is not republic in its method of government in any way, shape, or form. It creates an oligarchy within the state of Ohio,
right?
That has total and ultimate unchallengeable power.
Yep,
it's the ultimate gerrymandering.
The maps they pass only have to be passed by a simple majority vote of the 15. So even if every Republican votes no, and all the let's say these are all left-leaning independents, which they're going to be in charge of picking the independents. So they could pick independents that have voted Democrat in the past, and then all of a sudden you basically have 10 Democrats, and they can pass whatever maps they want for as long as they want. So that's the system that we're looking. The barrel is looking right at us right now. This is what you see right there, looking right in your eyeball.
Yeah, I hope you guys can understand why we fight so tooth and nail, no holds barred, when it comes to preserving access and the right to carry firearms as illegally as for long as we possibly can here. All those countries I've mentioned in the last couple of minutes that had those experiences with those experiments with communism. We've got the one thing that so many of those people didn't have, and that is the ability to shoot these bastards back. I mean, that's what the Second Amendment is all about. Like it or not, it's a restriction on government to make sure that we, the people, always have the ability to tell tyrants no. And what better way to tell a tyrant that's trying to destroy a county or destroy a city or enact executive, fiat tyranny than by a bunch of boys just saying, yeah, go screw yourselves. We're just going to say, we're not going to let you do that, you know. But this is why we fight so hard, and fight using the political tactics that we have for so long. There's been so many people over the years since we started this magnificent organization called Ohio Gun Owners that have been like, you guys are just a bunch of, you know, X, Y, or Z. You guys are nasty. You guys fight mean. You guys aren't, you know, this is a polite discussion that we're supposed to be having here at the State House. How dare you guys come in here like some junkyard dogs and blah, blah, blah. You guys just get down the good, whatever. We've always said it. We never run away from it. If there's a gutter involved, we will whip out a jackhammer and blow a hole through it and get underneath it, because we don't want our kids to live under tyranny, and throw away the freedom that was bought with such precious blood by our fathers and our forefathers and those who went before us. We cherish those things here at Ohio Gun Owners. And so, and we can see very clearly what the enemy is doing, and what they're trying to do here. So, all right. Issue 1 is bad, folks. It is the ultimate gerrymandering tool for the radical left. If it passes, it will be the destruction of Ohio long-term, 15, 20 years from now. You will not recognize the state of Ohio in comparison to what it used to be. It will look very much like Illinois or New York or something like that.
Yep. This is exactly what they did in Colorado, by the way, years ago. So all you have to do is look at Colorado now,
there you go,
and what Colorado used to be 20 years ago.
There you go. That's a perfect example of this. So, all right. So let's jump on. So we are encouraging people to vote no on issue 1. It is bad for our gun rights, and it is antithetical to everything that this organization stands for. So please, if you know friends and family who have not yet voted or are planning to vote on November 5th, please urge them to vote no on issue 1. It is paramount. It is one of the most important circles that you can possibly fill in on your 2024 general election ballot. So please do that.
And if you don't take our word for it, read it yourself. Read it yourself.
Absolutely. That's always the case with everything we talk about here at Ohio Gun Owners. Go and read it yourself. Yep. If you have any questions, shoot us an email, info@ohiogunowners.org, so that we can explain something to you if you don't understand it. We'd be happy to do that. Yeah. Please vote no on issue 1. Let's jump on to the other elections here, Rob. I didn't want to go on for an hour tonight, but hey, we might have to.
We're having a good time.
We are having a good time. I see my buddy Shane Turner. He is in the comment section, my friend. It's good to see you here again. He was talking about some of those people who don't understand what's going on with that comment. Thank you. Jeremy Potter is here tonight. Who else is here? Gary Weber is in the comment section. Lisa Worley, I think she's from Cincinnati. She's here tonight.
Lovely Lisa. How's it going, Lisa?
Yeah, exactly. She's the one who got our shirt, right?
Yeah, she did. Yeah. I see. Let's see. Bob Wiseman is in the comments. He's saying hello from Oxford. Isn't that isn't Oxford? Isn't that where the school? What's her name? Beat out in the primary. Beat out Sarah Carruthers. Oh
yeah.
That was a fun one. What's that? Yeah, I think Oxford's part of that district. Yeah.
Well, she's gonna have so much better representation in the Ohio House of Representatives here. Well, for at least 2 years anyway.
Yes.
We'll see what happens with issue 1. But looks like we got another Nisley in the comment section, Rob. You see that?
My lovely wife Holly. Everybody say hello. How's it going?
Hello, Holly. All right, so
where do we start?
With that, let's jump onto the U.S. Senate race. This is getting very close. Sherrod Brown, we've said this before. We put an email about it a little while back. I think I've said it in previous videos, but Sherrod Brown is a master campaigner. He's also a master radical leftist. He is not a moderate. He is not a good old boy from wherever. If he was ever those things, it died a long, long time ago. And he is a 100% Biden agenda voter, according to Nate Silver. I saw that the other day. He has voted with the Biden regime 100% of the time. In this race between him and Bernie Moreno is neck and neck now. It's obviously within the statistical margin of error now. the latest Real Clear Politics poll average. I looked this up. I should have screenshot this or had this ready to go, but it's got Brown up 47.3 to Moreno 46.3, folks.
Very close.
1 point.
Yep.
1 point. So one of the recurring themes in this video, I hope you guys are taking away from this, is there's the presidential election. We're going to talk about that in just a second. There's the presidential election, but there's so much down ballot issues that are affected and that are going to be like won or lost based on the results of this election night. Please don't just go there and vote and cast your vote for the top of the ticket and then ignore the rest of the ballot.
Right. And they put issue 1 at the end, by the way, at the very end of your ballot.
Yeah, make sure you vote no on that sucker. Go to the end and vote no.
Yes.
Arguably, the two most important elections of the night are the presidential and the issue 1. So if you're going to go there, yeah, I'm not suggesting this, but well, here's another thing. If you are a Trump supporter, and we are a 501c4, we can't say that we endorse X, Y, or Z person. We're not here to do that. But if you are a Trump supporter, Trump will very likely not be able to get any of his agenda accomplished if he doesn't also at least control the U.S. Senate. And right now, what's the current breakup of the Senate?
Isn't it? Is it 51-49?
49.
51-49.
Yeah. So if Trump doesn't have the Senate, well, he doesn't get all of his judicial nominations. So much success was passed in his first administration under those judicial appointments.
Yeah,
massive, especially in the gun rights world. All of these court cases that have happened in the last couple of years, were because of Trump's court appointments.
Right. So, and I think there's going to be some major court appointments in within the next 4 years.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And what's more, I think, this is what a lot of people have been talking about. If Trump wins, there's a lot of older conservatives that are on the court right now, the Supreme Court, that would like to retire, but they can't, because if they do it right now, Joe Biden's corrupt regime gets to control the who they appoint, and then Chuck Schumer still controls the Senate. So that would be very bad. So all we're saying is there's a lot on the line when it comes to this U.S. Senate race, and it's within a point. So there's some more numbers I'd like to throw into this. If you're like a hunter or a fisherman or an outdoor sportsman, we saw a bunch of numbers a couple of weeks ago that came out that indicated that there's like 250,000 Ohio hunters and gun owners who don't go vote. A lot of these people are already registered to go vote, and you can't go register to vote anymore.
Right, the deadlines.
Anyway, that deadline's come and gone. But I mean, if you go and vote, if we can just turn out those 250,000 gun owners and hunters, I think that this 1 point lead by Sherrod Brown gets absolutely annihilated.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is an election, folks, that might be determined by just a couple thousand votes in a statewide election where over 1 million people are going to vote in Ohio. Maybe 1.5 million, 2 million, maybe even more. I don't know, but it could be determined by just a couple thousand. Maybe 10, 15,000 people. And it's just so sad to hear those numbers, that there's so many gun owners that don't vote, don't even bother. And
here's the thing. It's like, I understand this feeling of helplessness and anger and frustration that you don't see the results that you want, especially, I mean, that's, Ohio gunners got started beating on Republicans who weren't doing their job. So we understand this just as much, if not more, than anybody else. The Republicans are supposed to be the resistance, or the tool we use to fight back against the left, which is oftentimes represented by the Democrats. So I understand that frustration, but let me tell you, I assure you that not going and voting is not going to solve the frustrations that you feel.
Right.
Okay. We have taken guns as an example. We have taken the issue of gun politics and gun rights from the point where it was very acceptable for the Governor Kasich back in the day, and Stephanie Coonsey and Mike Haney and John Eklund and all these
Matt
Ohio
Nolan.
legislators, where they were just like sponsoring gun control bills right and left. And then we had the Dayton shooting, then DeWine piled on top of it. John Husted was in full-blown support for this gun control agenda. You had Matt Dolan pushing for red flag gun confiscation. These were all Republicans that were pushing for this stuff. That was the way it was back in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. But you know what? A lot of that stuff hasn't been getting introduced anymore, has it, Rob?
No, no, it hasn't.
In fact, in this last General Assembly, did any Republicans introduce any gun control bills in our current General Assembly?
Not to my knowledge. I don't recall a single one.
No, they didn't. You know why, folks? Climate change. We have beat the hell out of these Republican rhinos, these gun-grabbing rhinos, so badly that we've changed the climate in the Ohio General Assembly. We are for climate change here at Ohio Gun Owners. We absolutely support climate change when it's going our direction. We make that climate change happen. So my point here is, an organization like ours is able to go to work on Republicans, no matter how much you hate them. We despised a bunch of these Republicans. They were absolute scoundrels. And a couple of them got unelected in this last Republican primary. So next General Assembly, it's going to be an even better pro-gun climate in the Ohio General Assembly because of the work of Ohio gun owners, our membership and supporters. All right. We can't do that if the radical left controls the entire process.
Yes.
Okay. The same scenario applies in Washington, D.C. If they're able to run their entire agenda through without opposition, and without opposition is created by people frustrated just staying home and not voting, then the problems don't only not get fixed, the problems get manifestly, compoundedly worse in ways that we as 20th century and 21st century Americans cannot even comprehend. So please, I'm asking you, take some time out of your schedule on November 5th. If you have time to do it. If you don't have time to do it that day, please vote early.
Yep.
A lot of people get mad at us for saying stuff like that, but I've always had not the best vehicles on planet Earth. I got a big family and not able to afford the best. And so sometimes stuff happens, and I wouldn't want a stupid flat tire to be the excuse why I didn't make it to the polls. So
right, or the line was too big in the morning, on your way to work, and
I gotta go to work. It's either feed the family or make sure I vote. I'm gonna feed the family every time. So folks, please vote on the day of, or if you cannot do it, vote early. This is the system that we have right now, like it or not, and go vote. Like Shane Turner here, I'm going to pop that up on the comment section here. Like Shane Turner just said, go vote, take a friend with you.
Amen,
folks, we
Shane.
all got family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, church family, neighbors, social media friends, real ones and fake ones.
Yeah.
All those people. Now is your chance to do something that costs you nothing but time. And I realize time is a valuable commodity. That's always our most valuable commodity. But as far as
Jeremy.
physically, doesn't cost you much. And it has huge physical consequences as to what happens to our state, our counties, our local municipalities, our state representative districts, all the way up to the top of our federal government.
Yep.
And there is a lot on the line in these elections. My entire life.
Yep.
My entire life, you hear it every time. The Republicans are like, this is the most important election in a generation, blah, 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 blah. I think we're kind of getting there. I
think you're right. And I don't think you have to be some sort of genius to figure that out. You can kind of feel, you can kind of get a feeling for what's at stake. Every single, you can feel the differences. You can feel, just the temperature, the temperature on each side. You can tell, you know, that what the other side wants to do and what, you know, another side wants to do, they're so far apart now. You know,
Yes.
it's
Well, that's very, very accurate. The left has made it clear. And when you were talking about this just a second ago, when you're talking about how they're gonna draw these districts from the cities down into these rural areas.
Yep.
I was sitting there like, oh, that's not good, because I've met those Ohio legislators from the cities. They hate people down in Vinton County, for example. They don't like you at all. The radical left has made it very clear that they would absolutely love to farm rural America to feed their parasitic system. They have zero interest in coexisting peacefully with us anymore.
No.
Now, what's your phrase that you use a lot, Rob? It's about this.
Yeah, the social compact is broken.
Yeah.
The social compact is broken. We can't even, you know, we're living in a day and age now, folks, where we can't even agree on the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
You know, we can't even agree on our Constitution. You know,
That
there's a whole bunch of
boys and girls are girls, and you should not allow macabre doctors to take knives and cut the genitals off of little girls to try to appease and satiate this demonic sadistic pleasure that these people get out of destroying these kids' lives. We can't even agree on that. And during the lockdowns and the shutdowns, these people made it clear that if you did not toe the line 100%, or if you had feelings of your own about what you thought should go into your body, they said that you shouldn't even be allowed access to the doctor's offices and you should be dead.
Yes, amen.
That's
they did.
What they think about you.
Yeah.
So yeah, the social compact is broken. They broke it.
Yep.
They broke it, and they want you and me destroyed. This is what they do. This is what communists do. Man, I'm just all fired up tonight, Rob. You got me all. I don't know what it was. Must have been something. It's that shirt. I think it's that shirt.
It's the shirt. It's the shirt. Oh, I love the shirt.
Fired up, feeling good.
Can you believe this was on the clearance rack? Man, I love this shirt. Yeah, I love it.
It's got M4s and dolphins. How could that be unclear?
I know, right? I know. It was great. I love it.
It's good stuff. By the way, what store did you get that at?
I got it at a store in the Opry Mills Mall on a vacation in Nashville, Tennessee.
Fabulous.
Yeah. I think it was like a 9-line store or something like that. It was a store like that.
Oh, nice.
I think. Or no, it was Grunt Style.
They have a store?
They have a storefront in the Opry Mills Mall. If you're in Nashville, you got to check it out.
Oh boy.
Great store, great people.
I like my mug, by the way.
That's awesome.
You know, and in case anybody out there is like, trigger discipline, you know what? It's very hard to control a coffee cup with hot liquid in it when you got your finger out there. This one is literally made to sit there and grip it and rip it while you sip your coffee. So don't give me your crap about trigger discipline, doomers. Okay, so the U.S. Senate race is a 1-point battle right now, but there are between Sherrod Brown and Bernie Moreno. And again, folks, Bernie Moreno signed the Ohio Gun Owners Survey 100% pro-gun. He answered every single question correctly. And you know what? For a guy who doesn't have a voting record, that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see people be open and clear about what they believe. He is, and he is the only one in this race to fill out his 2024 Ohio Gun Owners.
And I'll just mention
survey.
Something, Chris, too, about the survey.
Yeah.
You know this as well as I do. We send hundreds of surveys out every election cycle, hundreds. Every single candidate that's running for state or federal office, we send it to all of them. And, you know, we only get, a couple dozen back sometimes on a good election year. I mean, we do our best to try to get these surveys into their hands and say, hey, fill this out so gun owners know where you stand. Bernie Moreno actually took the time, sat down and said, I believe this with my heart. I'm going to fill it out, you know, because I truly believe this. And I want everybody to know that I put this on paper. This is how I feel about your Second Amendment. He actually is one of the very few that actually stepped up and did that.
And I'll just be honest about it. You know, I'll just be honest. Ohio Gun Owners Survey isn't the easiest
No, it's
survey
not.
on planet Earth to take. It's not like the watered down simp thing that they push out over their Buckeye Firearms. It's not like, you know, the absolute meaningless one from the NRA. Ours is black and white. There's no gray areas. It's what are you going to do? And not only that, not only do we ask the hardest and toughest questions in all of gun politics on our survey, we as an organization are known for being total political ball busters. So for somebody like that to be able to, you know, fill out the Ohio Gun Owners Survey, it means that they're officially going on the record, because if they vote against it or whatever, they'll know we'll go find a big donor, and in the next primary cycle, make their life absolutely hell.
And we've done it before. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
We've done
and
it
we're
before.
getting
We'll
better at it too, by the way. So that's a great thing. If you're sitting here trying to figure out, oh my gosh, you know, Sherrod Brown, I've known him. He came to my local shop and we had a beer together and he's a nice guy. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and Sherrod Brown doesn't even have those anymore. He has only bad intentions, as his voting record proves. He's voted for universal gun registration, national red flag gun confiscation. He voted to give the Biden administration all the money that they needed to set up Kamala Harris's Office of Gun Violence Prevention that she's running out of the freaking White House.
He voted for the assault weapons ban too.
Yeah,
he has actually voted to take away your AR-15s and your semi-automatic firearms.
Yeah. So this is a polite and peaceful way for you to tell Sherrod Brown, come and take it. So there you go. That's Sherrod Brown for you, and that's Bernie Moreno. So the choice is up to you on that one. What's next? We're going to talk about the presidential race.
Yeah.
I didn't even, honestly, let me just pull that up on Real Clear Politics. How much do you think that Trump is winning by, Rob? Let's just put it that way.
In Ohio?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say 17.
17. Oh my gosh.
And I haven't looked at these, by the way. This is just totally spitballing here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hold on. I cannot believe I can't. This is so hard to find. Hold on. This is stupid.
You're leaving us in suspense here.
Yeah. Talk about something really cool, Rob, not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I already talked about my shirt. I think that's pretty cool. But what's really cool is guns. Am I right? I mean, we all love guns around here.
Absolutely.
Right?
Okay, here it is. Here it is. Ooh. Trump +7. This is what it's at right now. 51.2% in Ohio to 44.2%. So there's in case you're not a math genius, there's about 5 points out there that could go either way, and all of a sudden that gets up very closely to a dead even race. So I just don't think we take any of this stuff for granted. No, I remember in 2020, as the results were coming after the election was over, I was talking with Ohio State Representative Tom Brinkman. And that was his last election before he got termed out. I think he was termed out. That was his last one. So he couldn't run in 22. And he was sitting there telling me he's down in, was he in Claremont County or Hamilton County?
No, he was in like southeast Hamilton County.
That's right.
Like the Marymount, what was it called? Newtown area, somewhere down there.
Yeah. And he was telling me that he was sitting there watching his election results come in, from all the different precincts. And all of a sudden, he got a drop of like 6,000 Democrat voters and 0 Republicans. And statistically, that can't happen.
Right.
So where everyone was wondering, like, okay, what in the heck is going on here? So do I have faith in the entire system? Well, nobody in their right mind anywhere in America says there's absolutely 0 issues all whatsoever with the election process. So now we're having a discussion of, well, what and where. So this is where I'm a big, huge proponent of, let's not leave anything to chance.
Yep.
And let's just all get out there, grab our friends, family, loved ones, neighbors, coworkers, barber, your local hairdresser, and head down to your local polls and get the job done.
Right. I've always said that Elections are determined by who shows up every single time, no matter what.
Yeah,
And you can't leave anything up to chance. You have the vote in your hands. You can at least guarantee yourself the vote, and if you can bring a couple people with you. But if everyone does that, I mean, like we start to chip into that 250,000, that 250,000 that Chris was talking about, of people that don't go vote. And then all of a sudden you start changing things. You start getting more pro-gun people elected. Positive things are happening for gun rights, and it's all because of who shows up. And folks, we want it to be more of us than them. That's what it boils
exactly.
down to. It's got to be more of us
Exactly.
than them. The show.
I like what you said there about it's about the victory goes to who shows up.
It's true.
We have proven that time and time again here at Ohio Gun Owners, because we have been there every time for all of the gun stuff that's happening in the Ohio State House. We're a dog and a bone, and we engage our membership, and it's a big, huge, open, wide open discussion. And look who's been winning for the last couple years.
Yeah.
29 August 3, 2019, big shooting happened in Dayton, Ohio, in the Oregon district there. I was there that night for the vigil, and I knew we had a fight on our hands, but I also knew that we weren't going to back down one single freaking inch, that we're going to be there every step of the way and make them pay for every inch of ground that they wanted to take from us. And guess what happened? No gun control bills got passed into law. And in that same General Assembly, we passed constitutional carry and stand your ground. Boom.
Right.
Both of them were passed into law. That's how you win the fight. You show up, put in the work, engage the people, and fight for what you believe in. That's our motto here at Ohio Gun Owners, and it wins. So you can do that too by going to your local polling location and voting pro-gun in these elections.
Right. You can also go to joinogo.com and become a member today and help us fight for your gun rights.
If you're not, what are you waiting for? You waiting for another text message to come into your phone from some loser rhino saying, hey, give me your money, which is $5. They're going to ensure, we've got a lot of huge results here. So we'd love to have your support. Long after this election is over, there's going to be a fight going on at the Ohio State House, either a pro-gun one or an anti-gun one. We'll be there for both of them.
There's probably going to be fights happening the week after the election.
Absolutely.
At the State House.
Ding, ding, ding.
So,
pardon me. Oh, okay. So again, Trump's at 51.2. Harris is at 44.2. So that's the spread. Okay. What I was going to bounce on to my favorite, which was the Ohio legislative races.
Yes, always a favorite.
But basically, I've talked about everything I want to talk about when it comes to like voter turnout. What I would like to say is that Ohio Gun Owners is absolutely hammering right now in districts all across this beautiful state, just like we hammered in the Ohio Republican primary way back in March. Boy, doesn't that seem like
it seems like forever ago now at this point.
My gosh.
Yeah.
That was a ridiculously early primary. And folks, Rob and I do this in a couple different states now. But that was the first one, and man, that was early on in the year. Whew. But we hammered the heck out of some of these rhinos back then, and we are hammering against some of we're exposing some of these anti-gun candidates right now that are running in congressional districts, in state house districts, in state senate districts, all across this beautiful state. Essentially, what we're doing is climate change. Back to my previous comments. We are improving the general climate in the Ohio State House for the passage of gun rights bills and the defeat of gun control bills. We are doing that by hammering in these elections. The best lobby work, contrary to what you'll believe, contrary to what you hear on the news, the best lobbying work that Ohio Gun Owners does. And Rob, I'd say we are very friendly lobbyists, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, I look at people with a smile, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're some winsome people.
Yeah. A firm handshake and a nice smile,
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like, that old Davy Crockett movie with Fess Parker, right? Yeah. Kind of grin down a bear, we give him the old fashioned grin, but that's not where we are the most effective as your advocates in the Ohio State House for gun rights and against gun control. We are the most productive pound for pound. I'm a big boy. We're the most effective pound for pound, dollar for dollar in the election season. And that's what we're doing right now. So, folks, we have ads running in House races and Senate races all across the state. That's what we spend our donor dollars on. Everybody talks after votes. They're like, we're going to hold so-and-so accountable. Make them pay for it at election time. It's usually something that people say to make themselves feel better about defeat, right? It's not that way for us. Our memories are long-term here. So right now we are going after state rep candidates for gun control votes or gun control bills that they sponsored back in 2018.
Yep.
Okay. We have long-term memories here, and we prosecute the crap out of these people in the court of public opinion. We remind gun voters right before the elections exactly what candidate X and candidate Y, Stephanie Coonsey is one of these people that comes to mind, what they did to people previously, right before these elections, and that's how we improve the climate.
Right, you've got to do this stuff, folks, because
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say because you let this stuff go off scot free, and then all of a sudden politicians are like, oh, it's okay if I sign on to this red flag bill because I won't get any negative repercussions for it, and I'll feel better about myself because I can tell my Democrat friends, hey, look, I'm coming your way on gun rights.
Yeah,
we can't allow that to happen.
No, we beat them with a big political stick. Like Jeremy Potter, my friend, just talked about. So we go after them big time, and that's why we fundraise year in and year out. That's why we're a member-funded organization. We don't have any big, huge donors writing us $1 million a year checks. Although if you are a big donor like that and you can write some serious checks, please reach out to me. I'd love to have a personal meeting with you. Because can you imagine what we could do with $1 million a year, Rob?
Oh, man.
You guys would not even
rhinos wouldn't know what hit them.
You wouldn't even recognize the state.
No.
So that's what we are doing right now on behalf of our membership. That's what we're spending our resources on. So if you guys can go to donate-to-OGO.com and chip in right now, we can escalate any ad that's running right now and get it in front of more voters. Okay. So again, dollar for dollar, right now is the best bang for your buck when it comes to your gun rights.
And our targeting system is top notch.
Oh my gosh, it's the best in the country. Honestly, we have people running our ad buys that were doing all of the ad buys for the Trump campaign, and pretty much every rock solid federal conservative across the country that you can think of. Okay, so our ad people spent millions and millions and millions of dollars for the Trump campaign, for example. So we got the best in the business, bar none. So yeah, go to donate-to-OGO.com. If you like the sound of this, if you like this work that we're doing, we'd love to have your support. What else, Rob?
Yeah, I mean,
more comments. What's going on here?
Yeah, but we could take questions. I mean, unless there's any other state legislative races you wanted to highlight. I know we kind of talked about the state legislature at kind of the 50,000-foot view.
Let's talk about some of them.
Yeah.
I think for a tour here, Rob.
Yeah, I think there's going to be there's some really big contentious races this election cycle. As far as the General Assembly is concerned, I think that there's quite a few open seats. I think that Hamilton County is going to be a huge, especially some of these suburban Hamilton County districts.
Yes.
Are going to be huge battlegrounds.
Baker.
I'm talking about, Rachel Baker, House District 27, the district of former, great Tom Brinkman.
My man.
And then also
I miss him, by the way. I miss him a lot.
Yeah, I do too. And then House District 28, both of those districts are kind of on the east side of Hamilton County, northeast, southeast.
28's Jen Giroux.
Yes, Jen Giroux versus some lady named Karen, which, I mean, have you seen a picture of her?
Oh, yeah. Quintessential Karen.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
looks like a Karen, that's for sure.
And just so you guys know, these ladies, this Rachel Baker and this Karen lady, they are total emotional basket cases. They are communist supporting basket cases who just like, they're in a constant state of rage against everything that made the state great. They want total gun control. They want to rule with an iron fist. I don't know what is up with these ladies, Rob, that get this burr under their whatevers and just become like total haters. What's up with that?
Yeah, I think that's the $1,000,000 question. I mean, there's no question.
And some of these people like this abortion issue for them is like, it's like all consuming. It becomes a part of their psyche, a part of their personality. And it's like, what kind of a psychopath is sitting there advocating for late term partial birth, abortions on
Right.
babies that are totally like, if you just leave them alone, they'll breathe and cry and scream and just want like to be fed. These people are insane.
Right. Their number one
they're
issue
really
is
insane.
sometimes their only issue is about whether or not they can kill their own children in the 7th, 8th, 9th month of pregnancy.
What?
Like you said, where they can breathe, they can cry, they can move, they can anything.
And they
it's
hate
just
us.
sad. Yeah,
They
they
hate
hate
us.
us.
They hate the Second Amendment too, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
I've not met one of these people who's that and pro-gun. It just doesn't exist. And I work in several different state legislatures, and so that's the kind of those are the kinds of legislative races where we are highlighting the differences, hammering on the anti-gunners and exposing them for the gun control advocates and radicals that they are, and then informing voters about the pro-gun candidates in that race as well, or or candidates who at least subscribe to a pro-gun ideology or who have signed our legislative candidate survey 100% and stuff like that. So that's what we are doing, and these are the swing districts.
Yeah.
In these elections. So, I mean, you get some of these people. Yeah, you get if gun owners decide to relieve the Rachel Bakers of the burden of public service and swap her out with the pro-gun Republican in that race. I mean, we're talking like a climate in the Ohio House that will be unlike potentially anything we've ever experienced.
Oh, 100%.
If a lot of these races go gun owners' way, I mean, we could have a state legislature that I've not ever seen or worked with in my time in gun politics.
Right. And I mean, just think about it from, what we're dealing with currently. I mean, we are working overtime, folks, all constantly trying to get SEPA across the finish line here in Ohio. Yes. Can you imagine if and look, some of these people, like I'm talking about House District 27, Kurt Hartman, House District 28, Jen Giroux, if these folks actually end up winning on November 5th, they have already gone on record saying that they will sponsor and vote yes on SEPA. So we can start making those tally marks. We can start saying, these people are going to be good on our issue if they win.
And that's if we can't get SEPA across the finish line in lame duck session this year.
That's true, yes.
Which is historically when gun bills normally pass. We made an exception to that once before, but
it'll just be
possible.
Further mandate.
Yeah, exactly. It's possible.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the state of gun politics right now. We will likely be doing a further follow-up to this right before the elections. I don't know yet if we're going to be going live on election night. There's going to be so many races that we're going to be paying attention to. I don't know if we'd be able to do justice to all the federal stuff that people want to be paying attention to. Obviously, the Trump-Harris race is going to be on everybody's mind. And so who's going to even want to watch the Ohio legislative stuff that we geek out at, because long after the presidential is over, we're going to be using the results and interacting with the results of the Ohio legislative races big time. So Yeah. So yeah. So no word on that yet on whether or
Right.
not we're going to be doing a live show.
If we do, I'm sure we'll let you guys know. Just,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yep. But I want to thank you guys for all the support that you've been giving to Ohio gun owners.
Yeah. You
You know,
guys are awesome.
we can't do what we do here at Ohio Gun Owners without money. That's just money in politics is dirty. Yeah, well, that's life. It's reality. And if we didn't have your guys' generosity and support, and I know it's been hot, it's tough. It's really hard, and I know it's a sacrifice. But if we didn't have that from you guys, I don't think that Ohio would be a constitutional carry state. It certainly wouldn't be a stand your ground state. We'd probably have red flag laws on the books right
We'd
now.
probably be just like Florida, honestly.
Yeah.
I really think that.
Now, in case there's people here who've been following gun politics for a while, Florida ain't what it used to be.
That's true.
It's not the gunshine state anymore. They have nasty laws on the books that have not been repealed when they absolutely should have. So it's we could be like Indiana, where they have red flag gun confiscation on the books there. So we've made a lot of progress, and it's only because of you. It's because of you guys 100%. And your $25 here, your $50 there, your $100 there. That allows us to do a lot. And your phone calls, your emails, your social media messages, your to your state reps and stuff, and your petitions, the petitions that you sign, all of those things combined together to make this one hell of a gun rights organization. And we're dang proud to be your fist or your hammer or your whatever we need to be at the Ohio State House when it comes to this issue, gun rights. And we love doing it for you. Not to mention, we love doing it ourselves. Am I right,
Amen.
Rob?
Amen to that. Yes.
Yeah, we get a certain pleasure out of beating the hell out of some of these people every now and then. But so we like doing it for those reasons. But as this culture goes from that slow motion, as we watch the left try to transition into warp speed communism, the old memes of 10 years ago that said stuff like the Second Amendment is the one that protects all the others, that has come into focus with a clarity I don't like seeing. We very much need to keep our firearms because warp speed will be the next day, the day that we lose our firearms. And it's not a conspiracy anymore. It's not, we're not extrapolating anything. We believe the radical left when they say, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s and your AK-47s. We believe Joe Biden when he says that he wants to ban assault weapons. And we believe Kamala Harris when she's caught on video saying that she wants to do mandatory gun lockup laws that give the state the ability to come into your home and do government gun inspections. We believe them when they tell us what they want to do. And that's why we will keep our firearms. Thank you very much. And if you want them, you can come and frickin' take them. So
right.
That's all we've got for tonight, folks. We love you. Thanks for watching. Please share this video, especially if you know anybody who is on the fence about issue 1. That was the first topic that we discussed in this video. We would ask everybody to vote no on issue 1. That is the one thing that we can talk explicitly about as a 501c4 organization. That is our issue. And so it's a free speech issue, and we would urge people to vote against that. It is very anti-gun. It is the ultimate gerrymandering tool for the radical left.
And the destruction of representative government.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Totally and completely for Ohio. Yeah. And we'd ask you folks to vote no on that. Again, please share this video with everybody you know. And then on November 5th, folks, round up your friends, family, loved ones, coworkers, neighbors, church family members, barbershop